There is one object that has shaped human history more than almost anything else. People have crossed oceans for it, started wars because of it, betrayed friends, destroyed families, built empires, and buried entire civilizations beneath its weight. Gold. For thousands of years, gold has represented power, status, security, success. Even today, people hide it in vaults, wear it around their necks, pass it down from one generation to the next. Its value seems unquestionable. Or does it? Thomas More looked at the world's obsession with gold and asked a question so simple that most people never stop to consider it. What if gold isn't valuable by nature? What if it's only valuable because we agreed that it is? In the world of Utopia, gold isn't displayed with pride. It isn't locked away inside royal treasure rooms. It isn't used to impress anyone. Instead, prisoners wear heavy chains made of gold. Criminals are marked with golden bracelets. Children play with golden toys. Imagine visiting a country where the richest material on earth is treated like cheap plastic. At first, it sounds ridiculous, but then something strange happens. You begin to question your own assumptions. Gold itself never changed. The atoms remained exactly the same, only its meaning changed. And suddenly, one uncomfortable truth appears. Maybe value doesn't exist inside objects. Maybe value exists inside human minds. Think about money. A $100 bill is only a piece of paper. A digital bank balance is nothing more than numbers on a screen. Luxury brands are fabric. Diamonds are stones. Gold is metal. Yet people spend their entire lives chasing these things, not because of what they are, but because of what they represent. Status, power, recognition, importance. Thomas More understood that human beings rarely fight over objects. They fight over the stories attached to those objects, and stories can change. In Utopia, another surprising idea appears. People work only 6 hours each day. That's it. The rest of their time is spent learning, reading, practicing crafts, creating art, talking with family, improving their minds. Imagine that for a moment. A society where people don't brag about working 80 hours a week. A society where being busy isn't a badge of honor. Where success isn't measured by exhaustion. Thomas More wasn't saying people should avoid work. Far from it. He believed work was necessary, but he also believed life should never become nothing but work, because when every waking hour is spent making money, you eventually forget why you wanted money in the first place. Not to live, but to keep working. Today, many people proudly say, "I've been working non-stop. I haven't taken a vacation in years. I barely sleep," as if constant exhaustion proves success. Thomas More would probably ask a different question. If you're too busy to learn, too busy to think, too busy to spend time with people you love, then what exactly are you becoming successful for? That's a difficult question, because deep down, many of us don't have an answer. Up until this point, Utopia feels like philosophy. An interesting thought experiment, a brilliant piece of political imagination. But then history reminds us, Thomas More wasn't merely writing fiction, he was living according to it. At the time, More wasn't an outsider criticizing the powerful. He was powerful. He served as one of the closest advisors to King Henry VIII. Eventually, he became Lord Chancellor of England, the highest legal office in the kingdom after the king himself. He had everything people dream about. Wealth, influence, respect, security. His future seemed untouchable. Then, everything changed. King Henry VIII wanted something the church refused to grant. He demanded that those around him publicly support his decision. Most people did, some out of loyalty, others out of fear. Many simply wanted to protect their careers. Thomas More remained silent, not because he wanted power, not because he wanted attention, but because his conscience refused to say what he believed was untrue. Silence itself became an act of resistance, and resistance has a price. Imagine standing before the most powerful man in your country, knowing that one sentence could save your life. One signature, one agreement, one compromise. You keep your wealth, your title, your home, your future. Almost anyone would have accepted. Thomas More didn't, because he believed there is something more valuable than survival. integrity. In 1535, he was found guilty of treason, not for stealing, not for violence, not for leading an army, but for refusing to betray his conscience. He was sentenced to death. As he walked toward the executioner's block, he had already lost everything the world considered valuable: his position, his influence, his fortune, soon, even his life. Yet history remembers him as a man who lost nothing essential because he refused to lose himself. At that moment, Utopia stopped being just another book. It became proof that Thomas More truly believed what he wrote. Anyone can write beautiful words. Anyone can speak about justice. Anyone can praise honesty. But very few people are willing to sacrifice comfort, power, or life itself to remain faithful to those words. Thomas More did, and that changes the way we read every page of Utopia. It is no longer merely an intellectual exercise. It becomes the testimony of a man who chose conscience over power. But perhaps the greatest lesson of Utopia is still waiting, because after all the philosophy, after all the ideas, after all the sacrifice, Thomas More leaves us with one final mirror, a question so personal that no one else can answer it for you. And that question changes everything. By now, you may have noticed something strange. Thomas More never really tells us how to build the perfect country. Not step by step, not with political formulas, not with economic theories. Instead, he does something far more unsettling. He turns the question around, and suddenly the conversation is no longer about governments, it's about you. Because perhaps the greatest misunderstanding about Utopia is believing that it's a book about an imaginary island. It isn't. It's a mirror, and mirrors have one uncomfortable habit: they never lie. Whenever something goes wrong, we instinctively look for someone to blame: the politicians, the wealthy, the media, the education system, the economy, the government. Sometimes those criticisms are justified, but Thomas More quietly asks another question: what kind of people create those systems in the first place? Governments don't appear out of thin air, neither do corrupt institutions. They are built, decision by decision, compromise by compromise, by ordinary people making ordinary choices. A dishonest nation is not created overnight. It is created every time honesty becomes inconvenient. A corrupt government is not born in a single election. It is born every time integrity is exchanged for personal gain. History rarely changes in one dramatic moment. It changes through millions of small decisions made by millions of ordinary people. People like us. Most people think they influence society only when they vote. Thomas More would probably disagree. He would say, you vote every single day. Every time you choose honesty over convenience. Every time you return something that isn't yours. Every time you keep a promise no one could force you to keep. Every time you refuse to lie, even when lying would benefit you. Every small decision shapes the kind of person you become. And people become families. Families become communities. Communities become nations. That is how civilizations are built. Not from the top down, but from the inside out. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. You don't like what you see. Would it make sense to clean the mirror while ignoring your own face? Of course not. Yet that is exactly what societies often try to do. We rewrite laws, replace leaders, create new institutions, design new systems, all important things. But if the people looking into the mirror never change, the reflection never changes either. Thomas More believed that lasting reform begins in a place no government can reach: the human conscience, because laws can control behavior, but only character can control intention. And intention is where every great civilization, or every great disaster, begins. More than 500 years have passed since Utopia was published. Empires have disappeared, kings have fallen, currencies have changed. The Industrial Revolution transformed the world. The internet connected billions of people. Artificial intelligence now performs tasks once thought impossible. Almost everything around us has changed. Yet somehow, this book still feels relevant. Why? Because technology evolves much faster than human nature. Our tools become smarter, but our desires remain familiar. We still compare ourselves to others. We still chase status. We still postpone happiness. We still believe the next achievement will finally complete us. And just like the people of Thomas More's time, we often confuse having more with becoming better. Perhaps that's why Utopia has survived for centuries, not because it provides perfect answers, but because it asks the questions most people spend their lives avoiding. Questions like, what is enough? What is true success? Can wealth exist without wisdom? Can justice survive without integrity? Can a nation become honest if its people are comfortable with small acts of dishonesty? And perhaps the hardest question of all, can we expect the world to become better without becoming better ourselves? Those questions have no easy answers. Maybe they were never supposed to. Thomas More did not believe that perfect societies appear by accident. He believed they are built slowly, patiently, one honest person at a time, one courageous decision at a time, one act of integrity at a time. He also understood something most of us forget. A nation is not its borders. It is not its buildings. It is not its economy. A nation is the character of its people. When honesty becomes common, trust grows. When responsibility becomes normal, communities become stronger. When compassion becomes a habit, justice no longer feels impossible. Perhaps that was the true meaning of Utopia all along. Not a place where perfect people live, but a reminder that better societies begin with better human beings. So, let's return to the question we asked at the very beginning. Imagine that tomorrow morning, you wake up in the perfect society. There is no corruption, no injustice, no greed, no fear, no dishonesty. Everything works exactly as it should. Now ask yourself one final question. Would that society become better because you were there? Or would it slowly become more like the world you left behind? Take a moment, because your answer has nothing to do with politics, or economics, or history. It has everything to do with the person you choose to become every single day. Maybe that is why Thomas More's book still matters after more than 5 centuries. It was never trying to show us an imaginary island. It was trying to show us ourselves, because changing the world has never truly begun in a parliament. It has never begun in a palace, and it has never begun with a king. It begins quietly, in the choices no one else sees, in the promises we keep when no one is watching, in the courage to do what is right, even when it costs us something. So before you ask how to build a better nation, ask yourself something far more important. What kind of person is capable of building one? Because in the end, every nation becomes a reflection of its people, and every reflection begins with the person standing in front of the mirror. Maybe the greatest utopia isn't a place waiting to be discovered. Maybe it's a person waiting to be created. And perhaps that person is you.